Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. You bloody cheeky so-and-so. Now today's first story is from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit from Puzzle26615 and says, Am I the arsehole for sabotaging my husband's tournament after he refused to help with our newborn? My husband, Jake, 30 male, and I, 27 female, recently welcomed our first baby, Emma, who is now 3 months old. As new parents know, it's been a challenging time, filled with sleepless nights and endless diaper changes. I'm on maternity leave, so I'm home with Emma all day, but I still need help from Jake, especially during the night. Jake works from home and is a huge gamer. He spends most of his free time playing online games with his friends. I've tried to be understanding and give him space, but it's been hard when he refuses to help with Emma at night. I've asked him multiple times to take turns getting up with her, but he always says he's too tired or that he has an important game. Breastfeeding has been particularly difficult. Emma often struggles to latch properly, leading to painful and sometimes cracked nipples. I've had mastitis twice already, which leaves me feeling feverish and in intense pain. Despite seeing me in pain, Jake just laughs it off, finding it amusing. He never offers to help during these moments, and even though I'm visibly struggling and desperate for support. One night after I'd been up with Emma for the third time and Jake was still glued to his computer, I'd had enough. I went into his office and asked him to take over so I could get some sleep. He waved me off, saying he was in the middle of a game and that I should just handle it. He added, "You're on maternity leave and free all day while I have to work. So I need time to relax. You're just sitting around doing nothing all day anyway." Dearie fucking me. I was exhausted and on the verge of tears. I needed his help, but he was completely dismissive. In a moment of frustration and desperation, I walked over to the router and turned off the Wi-Fi. That's when Jake completely lost it. He stormed out of his office, screaming at me. Apparently he and his friends were in some sort of online tournament and they were about to win when I unplugged the Wi-Fi. He called me selfish, irresponsible, and accused me of sabotaging his one form of relaxation. He went on to say that I had no right to interfere with his me time and that I should have just waited until he was done. I calmly explained that I needed his help and that our baby was more important than his game. He refused to listen and continued to berate me, adding that I haven't been having sex with him and that we've only had sex 4 times since Emma was born. He accused me of wanting to take everything away from him while doing nothing all day and sitting at home on my ass. Jake never helps during the day either, even after he finishes work at 5 p.m. I don't expect him to help during work hours, but once he's off, he should be stepping up as a parent. Instead, he goes straight to his games, leaving me to handle everything alone. Since then, he's been sulking around the house, barely speaking to me. Makes matters worse, his friends have been sending me nasty messages, calling me a crazy wife and saying I'm unreasonable. One of them even suggested that Jake should leave me because I'm too demanding. I feel like I'm losing my mind here, just trying to get a bit of support. I'm exhausted and all I wanted was for Jake to step up and be a parent too. Instead, I'm being painted as the villain for wanting help with our newborn. Am I the arsehole? Edit 1 for those saying why I married him and didn't I know this before. Jake was completely different before Emma was born. He was supportive and understanding. His behavior is new and shocking to me. Edit 2. To all those calling me an arsehole, I'm sorry, your words cut deep and I feel more hurt than I can express. I didn't turn off the Wi-Fi out of spite or because I couldn't handle my responsibilities. It was a desperate act after feeling completely unsupported and alone. I feel like I'm drowning in guilt and sadness. This time with Emma has been incredibly challenging. I'm constantly exhausted and in pain from breastfeeding. All I do is cry because I feel like such a failure. I just can't anymore. Jake works hard and I appreciate him, but his indifference to my struggles makes me feel so violated. I spend my days and nights in tears, wondering if I'm failing as a mother and wife. All I've wanted is for us to share the responsibilities of parenting, especially during those late night feedings and diaper changes that leave me feeling so drained. I've been struggling with feelings of sadness and guilt, wondering if I'm failing as a mother and a wife. It's not about controlling his downtime, it's about needing his support during this incredibly tough time. I wish you could understand the depth of loneliness and frustration I've been feeling. Your words about me being selfish and immature hit hard because I've been questioning myself constantly. I never wanted to play the victim or make Jake out to be the bad guy. All I wanted was for us to work together as a team, like we promised each other when we decided to start a family. I'm sorry if my actions hurt anyone, including Jake and his friends. I was overwhelmed and at my breaking point. I'm trapped in a cycle of guilt, feeling like everything is my fault. I never wanted to hurt anyone. I just don't know how to cope anymore. I'm not trying to be selfish, I'm trying to survive. Edit 3. A lot of people are saying I'm making breastfeeding a huge deal and millions of mums do it too. But mastitis isn't just a minor inconvenience. It's an excruciating throbbing pain that feels like shards of glass stabbing into my breast with every suckle. Sometimes the pain is so intense that I cry silently while Emma feeds, and I have to bury my face in a pillow to muffle my cries because Jake has made it clear that my suffering is a nuisance to him. Oh dear me. He says he's either working, gaming, or sleeping, so I should not disturb him. And some people are saying that even if this happens to me, then what the fuck should he do here? Do I expect him to grow a breast and feed Emma? But no, I'm not expecting him to do that. I just want him to support me. He never offers to help during these moments, even though I'm in tears and desperately in need of support. Who the hell called Opie an arsehole in the story? I'm not even going to look at these comments, they will send me over the edge. And his friends getting in contact with you and berating you over this? If I heard this story from one of my friend's partners, I'd be absolutely horrified and say, what the fuck are you doing with a husband? And I always ask myself, like reading these stories now, and I know it's really difficult because Opie's in such a vulnerable position. You know, they're struggling themselves already, tired, exhausted. But what are you actually getting from this? You're getting no support. He's saying that you're sitting on your arse all day doing nothing. Fucking cheeky bastard. Obviously telling his mates about what's going on at home because they're contacting you and calling you all sorts of names. And the title said, like, after he refused to help with our newborn. No, he's refusing to parent. He's a parent. So I have to ask, because it's such an extreme thing, but I have to ask what you are actually receiving out of this anymore. There's no support. You're sat there trying to breastfeed with mastitis, crying in pain, and he doesn't give a shit. That's horrific to think about. All I can say is, like, I hope you turn to people around you for whatever decision you make. Friends, family, turn to them for support in this moment. Any friend came up to me and told me that they was going through this and they was receiving no support from it and being treated in this way, I'd hope any friend would help this person out. But Mistress Leader says, not the arsehole, sex 4 times with a 3-month-old. Considering that one is not supposed to have intercourse at all for the first 6 weeks due to infection risk, is not painting himself in a pretty light here at all. B-Fan says, as soon as he brought up the lack of sex, it showed who he was. If you told him that you wanted sex, he would stop gaming when he came home. This has to do with you not catering to his needs. You really need to think about your daughter to be raised in a house where a father treats her mother badly. Remember that kids learn what is acceptable behavior in relationships by watching what their parents do. Is this the kind of relationship that you'd want your daughter to have? Birthday Anon says, that was the part that really sent it over the top for me. What kind of person complains about only being able to get their dick wet 4 times since the baby was born just 3 months ago? Doing the math makes him look even worse. Most women are not physically, mentally, or emotionally prepared for sexual intercourse for at least 6 to 8 weeks after creating an entirely new human being from scratch. So he's either complaining about only having sex 4 times in a month, which is ridiculous complaint, especially with a newborn in the house, where he's pressured her into resuming sexual activity immediately after giving birth. Neither of those make him the victim. Popular Boner says, and the mastitis. It's a shitty man who enjoys sex with a woman in pain. Zelda Pin says, Saturday morning, put some bottles in the fridge, put the baby on Jake's chest and walk out the door. Come back 8 hours later and ask him how sitting around on his ass all day was. Or warn the mother-in-law that this is happening so she doesn't come and rescue him. Jin's Waffle says, yup, my friend did exactly this to a piece of shit ex-husband, and he was very helpful after that. She left him for other reasons, but he stopped that BS real quick. Chance Internal says, husband quickly learned the hard struggle when after baby 3, he was a stay-at-home parent and I wasn't. Boy, how our relationship really got tighter then, even though it was tight before. So OP responded to some nasty deleted comment saying, "I understand your perspective, but it's really not that simple. Yes, I'm home with Emma during the day, but caring for a newborn is incredibly demanding, both physically and emotionally. Jake works from home, which means he's here, but he rarely helps with anything beyond his work or his games. Even on weekends when he's not working, he's glued to his computer, gaming with his friends. He never changes diapers, dress her, or even comforts her when she's crying. It's not just about the physical tasks. It's about feeling supported and not shouldering everything on my own, when I'm already stretched thin emotionally and physically. I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm the only one making sacrifices. I appreciate that he works hard, but I'm also working hard to care for our baby without much help. It's exhausting, and it hurts to feel like I'm doing this alone. I just wish he would see how much I need him to be present, not just physically here, but emotionally too. It's not about throwing tantrums. It's about trying to get through each day without feeling completely overwhelmed and unsupported." Your words cut deep, and I feel more hurt than I can express. I didn't turn off the Wi-Fi out of spite or because I couldn't handle my responsibilities. It was a desperate act after feeling completely unsupported and alone. I feel like I'm drowning in guilt and sadness. This time with Emma has been incredibly challenging. I'm constantly exhausted and in pain from breastfeeding. All I do is cry because I feel like such a failure. Jake works hard and I appreciate him, but his indifference to my struggles make me feel so isolated. I spend my days and nights in tears, wondering if I'm failing as a mother and a wife. All I've wanted for us is to share the responsibilities of parenting, especially during those late night feedings and diaper changes that leave me feeling so drained. I've been struggling with feelings of sadness and guilt, wondering if I'm failing as a mother and a wife. It's not about controlling his downtime, it's about needing his support during this incredibly tough time. I wish you could understand the depth of loneliness and frustration I've been feeling. Your words about me being selfish and immature hit hard because I've been questioning myself constantly. I never wanted to play the victim or make Jake out to be the bad guy. All I wanted was for us to work together as a team, like we promised each other when we decided to start a family. I'm sorry if my actions hurt anyone, including Jake and his friends. I was overwhelmed and at my breaking point. I'm trapped in a cycle of guilt, feeling like everything is my fault. I never wanted to hurt anyone. I just don't know how to cope anymore. I'm not trying to be selfish, I'm just trying to survive." A girl who has no game replies to OP after that and said, "OP, do not listen to this person. They're an idiot and an arsehole. You're not being selfish by asking your partner to also parent his child. You're on maternity leave, not vacation. Caring for a newborn is hard work, contrary to whatever this walking trash can believes. You are 3 months postpartum. You're struggling with breastfeeding. You are sleep deprived, vulnerable, and frequently sick. And your husband doesn't help and laughs at you when you're sick. Who does that? He's putting your child at risk. He's putting you at risk. You're overwhelmed and exhausted, doing it all alone. That's when accidents happen. Jake is the bad guy. He's 30 years old. He should be able to balance work, free time, and caring for his child. Instead, he only cares about himself. There are hundreds of fathers around who love gaming, work, and still parent their children without complaint. You are drowning, and your partner is watching you and laughing about it. You have family, any other support you need to reach out and tell them what the hell is going on. Where are Jake's parents in all this? Does his mother know he leaves you to do everything by yourself so he can play video games? Respectfully, fuck Jake and fuck his friends. He's an adult with responsibilities. He doesn't get to sit around acting like a teenager. Again, you're 3 months postpartum. Your husband doesn't help, laughs at you when sick, and justifies not helping because you haven't had sex with him since you gave birth. Please leave. Can you stay with your family because this cannot go on and it's going to affect your health and your child's safety? Not the arsehole, but you're doing a disservice to yourself and your child if you stay and let Jake act like this." One more comment from They Made Me who says, "I'm a dad gamer and a stay-at-home dad gamer. Simply put, kids come first. I've stopped playing games where I can't really control when I walk away unless the kids are in bed. Also, you had a baby with a man-child. You'll need to pick better partners to have kids with already. There is no way this type of shit just sprung up. He's been this way since the beginning and you chose to ignore it. It's really sucky because you and this kid deserve so much better. But come on. You knew that your husband was like this before the kid. I'm sure he barely helps with the house duties, never mind child/baby duties. But no, you aren't the arse. Baby comes first, plain and simple." Opie says, "I wish everyone could be like you. It's incredibly tough when the person you thought would be there for you and your child isn't stepping up. I feel so lost and alone in the struggle. All I want for us is to prioritize our baby and work together, but it's been a constant battle. Thank you for understanding that the baby comes first. It means a lot to hear someone else recognize that. So OP comes in with an update and says, first, I want to say that I initially posted just to find out if I was wrong for sabotaging my husband's tournament. I ended up sharing a lot of context, and I never expected to receive such an outpouring of advice on other issues. But oh my god, the responses have been the best thing that's happened to me lately. Your words have had a profound impact on me. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much to all the mamas, dads, and everyone who offered their wonderful advice and educated me on postpartum depression, PPD. After reading everything, I immediately booked an appointment for the next day, and it turns out I do have PPD. I'll be starting therapy soon. My doctor also suggested joining a support group. I'm still considering it. I never thought I'd be saying this to random strangers, but I love you all so much. You've turned my life around. Thank you so much to everyone who informed me about tongue ties. I went to see a doctor for this as well, and it turns out my baby has a minor, unnoticeable tongue tie that was causing all the latching issues. I've scheduled an appointment later this week to get it corrected. Without your advice, I would never have known, and it would have continued to be a struggle. Yesterday, I was feeling so depressed, crying all day, but today, everything feels so much better. Each one of your comments made a difference. I've read almost all of your advice, though I couldn't reply to every comment. I spent a lot of time reading, and each one touched my heart deeply. Again, thank you so much, everyone. You're incredible. To everyone who DM'd me with their advice and resources like books, other subreddits, and websites, I'm eternally grateful. I promise I'll reply whenever I get the chance. I saved a lot of comments because the advice was so invaluable. I'm amazed that so many people took the time to give me and my baby detailed, thoughtful replies. I try to respond to you guys whenever I can. Hope you all understand. About the sex thing. Thank you to everyone who made me aware that this isn't normal. I'd been feeling guilty this whole time, thinking it's already been 6 weeks and wondering why I don't want to have sex. Jake was gaslighting me into believing that my sex drive should be normal after 6 weeks and guilting me for not wanting to have sex. Each of the 4 times we did, I felt very uncomfortable, but I thought maybe it was just me. Now that everyone has shared how long their partners waited and husbands have told me how long they waited for their wives to be comfortable, it made me realize how much I've been pressured unfairly. Also, there were a few gamer people who trolled me heavily for what I did, but most of the gamer parents, especially gamer dads, came forward and shared how wonderful they are as parents and how gaming comes after their child. The first hour after I posted this, I was harassed badly, especially this one person. His account has been deleted by the moderators now, but after that horrific hour, most of the people were so supportive and nice. I was thinking of deleting my post after all the backlash from some gamers and a lot of men agreeing with Jake, saying that just because I'm on maternity leave, I do nothing all day and shouldn't expect Jake to help because he is working and I'm being unreasonable for wanting him to help out more. But thank God I didn't delete it. It would have been the worst mistake. Trust me, you guys, it's not just about the advice but the emotional support you gave me in a day, sitting miles away from me. My husband couldn't even give me that in 3 months. Being under the same roof as me. This made me feel so much better, realizing how much I needed this support. Again, thank you so much, everyone. I still cry a lot and feel an overwhelming sense of guilt, like a heavy weight pressing down on my heart. There are moments where I feel like I'm failing as a mother and a wife, and the pain of those thoughts is unbearable. But thanks to all of you, I feel so much better than before. The words have been like a lifeline pulling me out of the darkest depths of despair. Every comment, every message has been a reminder that I'm not alone in this struggle. I can't describe the relief of knowing that there are people who understand and care. It's like a warm embrace that I desperately needed, and for that I'm very grateful. You've given me the strength to keep going, to fight for myself and my baby, and for that I will never be able to thank you enough. Answering some questions that was asked a lot. How long have we been together? We dated for 1 year and 5 months before getting married and have been married for about 1 year and 4 months, so in total about 2 years 9 months. Was the pregnancy planned? Yes, it was planned and actually his idea. I wanted to wait at least 1 year after getting married, but he made everything sound so good, like we'd be such great parents, and how we would do stuff together, and how happy everything would be. I didn't need much convincing. I got very excited hearing all this and had butterflies in my stomach. But now that I think of it, while we were dating, I remember him saying multiple times that his goal is to get married and have a kid before turning 30. Emma was born a month before he turned 30. So maybe he was just trying to achieve his goal. A lot of people, mostly men, are commenting that what they believe happened is that we dated for a few months, got pregnant and had to marry in haste, all within less than a year. And that's the reason he's being like this. According to them, I forced him into all this because I'm a bitch who baby trapped him, and he never wanted to have a kid. But this is far from the truth. How long does my maternity leave last, and is it paid or unpaid? I work at a well-known USA-based company that offers 16 weeks of paid maternity leave. Maternity leave can be extended up to 22 weeks, but those additional weeks will be unpaid. How does my income compare to his? I do make a little more money than he does annually, but I also have longer working hours. He usually works from 10 AM to 5 PM with an hour break in between, so about 6 hours of actual work. Why did I have a baby with him when I knew he was so into gaming? No, he wasn't into gaming that much before. It was like 3 to 4 hours a day. After the baby came, he didn't game much for about a week, but after that, oh my god, he was gaming 24/7, even during meals and work breaks. Once I caught him working on a laptop during work hours and gaming with a free hand. He probably is cutting a lot of sleep just to game. It would easily be 10 plus hours of gaming daily. Does he help with other chores? No, he very rarely does. I do all the chores like laundry, dishes, vacuuming. Once I threatened him that he must at least do his own dishes because I wouldn't do it anymore. And after that he got a huge stack of disposable plates, spoons, glasses, etc. Honestly, I use those too from his stock sometimes because I'm just so exhausted. I do most of the cooking. He'll boil eggs at the most, and that too like 2 to 3 times a week. About 3 weeks ago I was really mad at him because I had asked him to change Emma's diapers if she pooped while I was at my gynecology for a follow-up. He didn't change Emma's diapers, so I didn't make food for him for 3 days. He ordered DoorDash for all the meals. That's why even though a lot of people were asking me to leave him with Emma for 8 hours, I don't know in what condition I'll find my baby when I come back. I was only gone for an hour and a half, and I came home to her crying and soiled while my husband had his headphones on. He claimed he didn't hear the crying. God knows how long my baby had been crying. I felt awful that night and cried myself to sleep, thinking did she start crying as soon as I left and cry for the whole hour and a half. Also, I have no idea what I will do after I resume my job, and I barely have 10 weeks to figure everything out. I haven't thought what to do about Jake as of now, but I'll let you know. A lot of people suggested that I go to my parents' house or call my mother-in-law, but it would create a huge scene if I did. My parents, especially my dad, are very protective of me since I'm an only child. If he knew how Jake had been treating me or our daughter, he would take me home immediately and get me divorced, and Jake would be in serious trouble. He doesn't like Jake already, and if my cousin brothers found out, I can't even explain what would happen to him. I'm the only sister in the family, so they're extremely protective of me as well. It's not that I don't want to be with my family or get their help, but I would have to explain the reason, and I don't want to do this to Jake just yet. Maybe people have mentioned that Jake might have PPD too, because it's unusual for him to change all of a sudden like this. I still want to hold on to the hope after reading all these comments about how therapy changed their husbands, and even some dads coming forward telling me that they used to be like Jake and now they've changed. However, 2 to 3 dads also DM'd me, saying they are like Jake and told me to run as far as I can. One of them said he ended up beating his 6-month-old baby when he was crying, and another said he shook his baby. Oh my god, this terrified me. Jake is behaving awfully, but I think he would never do something like that. But after reading all this, I don't think I can leave Emma alone with him. I'm crying while writing this, but I want you all to know that when Emma grows up, I will make sure to tell her about the kind strangers who helped her and her mama in such difficult times. I'll tell her about the people who, even from miles away, reached out with their hearts and lifted us up when we were at our lowest. The tears I shed now are not just from the pain and exhaustion, but also from the overwhelming gratitude I feel for each one of you. I'll forever be grateful for your kindness and compassion, and I want Emma to know that in our darkest moments, there were angels who came to our rescue. Thank you for giving us the strength to carry on. I try to keep you all updated on how things progress, sending love and gratitude to each and every one of you. Edit. Many of you are urging me to call my dad ASAP and get his help. Trust me, I understand why you're saying this, but there's something you should know about my dad. When it comes to me, he's incredibly hot-headed and protective. If my dad, brothers and uncles find out how Jake has been treating me, they will definitely go after him, and it won't end well. I'm scared they will face assault charges or worse for what they'll do to Jake. Even if Jake decides to get therapy and changes, my dad will never let me try again with him. There's no way my family will allow Jake back into my life once they know everything. It hurts every day when I have to hold back my tears while talking to my mom, dad, and other family members. It hurts to lie to my parents, to pretend that everything is perfect when I'm actually falling apart. Sometimes I break down while on calls and have to cut the conversation short, lying that Emma woke up again just so they don't hear me crying. You don't know how much I want to tell them, how much I want their support, but I'm terrified of making a decision where there's no coming back from in such haste. I fear making a decision in haste that leaves no room for redemption or reconciliation. There were some comments before the next update. Smeghead says, seriously, leave him. Let your dad do what he will. He's not going to get any better. Good luck. Good Focus says, agreed. You gain nothing by protecting Jake from your father. You'll gain support and much needed rest if you tell your dad. They are more likely to help you with a kid than Jake. Their Strawberry says, honey, it's a big ass red flag that your dad already doesn't like him. Your dad is the person to call right now. Please, I say this from experience. He will not change without a harsh reality check. And even then, he will only change if he wants to. Go where you actually have support. Call your dad. The Thistle says, absolutely this. Be with people who love you and Emma. It's time for you both to get some peace. OP comes in with another update and says, I know this is a very early update. It's only been 5 hours since I posted my last update, but they have been enough to knock some sense into me. You guys are right. I am being an asshole here and not prioritizing my baby, so I need to get out of here ASAP. And oh my god, I read the comments and I'm overwhelmed. I've been crying hysterically again. Jake even shouted from the other room, asking if I could keep it down. You're right, he won't change. He is so insensitive. Realizing how foolish I've been has hit me hard. You all made me see how stupid I am for not leaving Jake and going to my parents, and how I'm putting both Emma's and my lives in danger. The thing that moved me the most was when you told me to imagine if it was Emma being treated like this. Would I want her to keep quiet or tell me what's happening with her? That hit me so hard. I can't bear the thought of her going through what I'm going through. I've decided to talk to my family tomorrow or day after tomorrow. I need some time to think about what and how much to say to them so the worst doesn't happen, and my family doesn't end up in jail. They love me a lot and have been protective of me since I was a kid. I also need to find and upload all the recordings from the CCTV cameras onto my laptop, which will help me with custody if we end up getting divorced. I need time to figure out the recordings and CCTV stuff, so I'll probably call someone for help. I'm thinking of doing this discreetly when Jake is sleeping because I'm scared he might completely lose it. I know he probably won't even notice since he mostly sleeps between gaming and doesn't come out of the room. But then again, I've been an idiot about so much stuff already. So let me know if I should do it another way. Please, if there are steps, other than the recordings and important documents I should take before telling my family and leaving, let me know. Because I know once I leave I won't be coming back. I know I don't reply often, but I read your comments and I promise I'll try to reply when things are better here. But please, I only have a little time and don't want to mess this up. You guys have scared the hell out of me with the possibilities of what could happen. You're all saying Jake will kill the baby and I'll end up doing a funeral for my baby. Please don't say stuff like that. That's just cruel and a mean thing to say. I've already been so depressed and crying, and now it feels like I'm drowning again. Please, please, please stop saying that I end up with a dead baby. It's very, very insensitive, even if you're saying this just so I'd ask for help and leave Jake. Secondly, I know what you must be thinking. Why does this woman cry a lot? She's always crying and she's pathetic. But I don't know what is happening to me. All I do is cry, and I wasn't like this before. I cried very little before giving birth, to be honest. I'm just very overwhelmed. And to those who are saying bad things about my dad, calling him a psycho control freak with anger issues, trust me, he is nothing like that. He's actually a very calm person, but he is very close to me and extremely protective. Since I was little, he gets protective even when someone raises their voice at me. He's not a bad person, he just cares deeply about me. Thank you all for your support and advice. You've opened my eyes and I'm determined to make things better for Emma and me. Yes, Emma just woke up and she's now just staring at me with her big blue eyes, and she isn't even crying. Maybe she's just trying to say something, I don't know. Even if this is making me break down in tears, I'm back from where I began. I'm going crazy. I can't believe looking at her tiny hands, her little fingers gripping mine. That was such a blindfolded, idiotic bitch who was going to jeopardize my baby's life. Guilt and shame are overwhelming. I feel like the worst mother in the world. And I just wanted to add the good advice which came from Pride of Cape Town after that post, which said, okay, Mama Bear, I understand this is probably the hardest thing you've ever done. There's a million emotions and thoughts running through your head, but step one is to schedule your breakdown 6 or 8 months or a year from now. I'm not trying to be flippant, so please forgive me if it comes off that way. You absolutely have to go through all your thoughts and emotions, but schedule them for later. You have work to do. Like Kenny Rogers said, don't count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. Birth certificates for you plus Emma, any passport or citizenship documents. Remove him from your bank account if he has access. Lock down your credit cards. And then gives a link to a Go Bag Essentials. And if you're ever interested in one of those, just Google it. They come up quite often now. I learned about one of those in a previous post recently. And then says best wishes and keep us posted. And I was really hoping in that update that OP just got the support from the family that she needs. And I'm really hoping that she goes down that path. I can't see an alternative to this. He's not going to change anytime soon. And OP really just needs to talk to her dad. I know she's concerned about the consequences of that, but you can't control what they're going to do. Similar feelings when I was being bullied at school and, my brother was trying to find out who it was. And my thoughts in my head was like, oh, they're going to end up in jail if I actually tell them. So I couldn't tell them. I know it's a bit of a different scenario, but it did come into my mind when you're trying to, in some ways looking back now, I wish I did tell my brother about it. And in a way, everyone wants Jake to get a slap round the head for this. I feel like if you talk to your dad and explain to him that you need his support and you can't be losing him as well, especially with all the thoughts and feelings you're going through, I think your dad would be on your side and would be listening to you and supporting you in the best way. And that's emotional and physical support for you and your child. So please, please reach out to your father, reach out to your family. Don't protect Jake anymore. He really doesn't deserve that protection. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? What would you advise to OP? Get in contact with a dad, or would you have some other advice on the matter? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time, not just towards me, but towards the OPs, who are clearly, especially in this case, really struggling at the moment. It means the absolute world to me and to them as well, I hope. And I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.